nag-impose kami ng time limitation among ourselves, kaya medyo mahigpit po ang aming chair sa pagbibigay ng panahon sa opening statement. No? Tinitingnan ko po yung opening statement ninyo, mukhang maikli lang naman, at nasa live coverage tayo. Willing po akong ibigay yung panahon ko sa inyo kung gusto ninyong basahin yung opening statement.
Salamat po. Thank you, Your Honor. I have actually delivered parts of my opening statement, but let me just summarize. Your Honor, the court today works under two, I will call them historical moments. The first I have already mentioned, the 25th anniversary of the 1987 Constitution. And the second I have likewise mentioned under questioning by Congressman Tupas, which is the recent impeachment of the former Chief Justice. But that then brings the court into the question of continuing the path of judicial activism or exercising judicial restraint. And I'm more on the side of judicial restraint. Now, admittedly, at this stage of our history, it is difficult to be that restrained because, for instance, many of the large causes, social and economic equality, environmental protection, these have all been codified into law. So even if a court says that it doesn't want to get involved in substantive policy matters, there is no choice. There is a codified either right or obligation under the rules. But as I've said earlier, there are also countervailing judicial doctrines by which a court can defer to the political branches of government and enable them to perform their respective duties. And for me, the important thing for a court is not to dissipate its legitimacy needlessly. In other words, there are some political debates that are best left to the political process. And that for a court to jump into the fray will therefore actually bring down the court from its, from its Olympian perch and reduce the court to just another political player, open season to the elected branches of government. And that is the difficulty there. And that is why, in fact, which brings us back to why at some point the court had to create the position of an official spokesman, because the court had to answer the criticisms from the political branches of government, which were completely free to comment and to debate, whereas the court was, by tradition and by law, limited just to its functions, to its adjudicative functions. The common thread, Your Honor, therefore, is that at this particular moment, a Chief Justice would have to rise above I call it the grayness of reality, to see the place of the court in the grand constitutional design. And I will, my preferred definition of the judicial power is, and here I quote, the shaping and application of those wise restraints that make us free. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Some of the questions that I had for you were already addressed in your, with the questions of, or by the questions of Attorney Cayosa. So let me go to some of the questions that were tweeted. No? And we will give you an opportunity to address this. Apparently, a number of UP professors opposed your appointment as dean. Can you please clarify or clarify this particular incident?
Yes, Your Honor, and thank you for giving me a chance to address that point. I stood for the deanship for the first time in 1999. And there was a group of professors who supported a different candidate. I took part in all the public forums because that's part of the UP system. The dean nominees appear in public forums. I took part in all those forums. Well, unfortunately, their candidate did not. But they did campaign quite actively for their candidate with the posters and all. But, you know, as history shows, Your Honor, I won and they lost. And that group of faculty members protested my appointment. I am, again, very thankful for my most senior colleagues in the faculty for having supported me throughout that battle. And I went on to serve my first term of 3 years. My performance was reviewed at the end of those 3 years, and I was given a fresh mandate with the full support of my faculty.
My final question po, another suggested question. How should the Philippines and China resolve the issue on the Scarborough Shoal?
Your Honor, there are two ways to look at it, the legal and the political. On the legal, the most important point, whether we're dealing with Scarborough or Spratlys, is to define how we characterize the rocks at Scarborough Shoal. Those are 5 isolated rocks, the only land jutting over the water, even at high tide, at Scarborough. In contrast, for instance, to Spratlys, where we have real islands existing. And having defined how we characterize the features, that's the generic term, the features, then we can determine whether these are islands that we must own because they are land and which therefore generate their own maritime zones, their own territorial sea and exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. That is one, to see them as islands, or to characterize the Scarborough either as rocks, which generate only a territorial sea, not an exclusive economic zone, and also to lay our claim over that part of the shoal which is actually underwater, and consider them as part of our exclusive economic zone squarely under our sovereign rights. That is the legal part. Of course, Your Honor, on the political part, it is well, I will have to defer to our Foreign Secretary on this point, but I do support his position that we have to multilateralize the dispute. It is not purely between a small country, the Philippines, versus a big country, China, that it is actually a multilateral dispute among several ASEAN countries vis-a-vis China, over which the ASEAN holds a common interest.
Thank you, Dean. Good luck. Thank you po, Justice Peralta.
Justice Lagman, please.
I have only very few questions because of most of the questions which I have prepared have already been asked, and I found the answer of the Dean very satisfactory.
Salamat po.
Okay. Now, past Chief Justices have been remembered for their